Hey, we've got Jesse Friedman joining us right now, the new host of the new show, Snakes Territory, which did its first live show last night. So check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Jesse, great to have you on. Let's just start really nice and simple here. What kind of grade would you give the Diamondbacks through the first few weeks of the season?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. Yeah, a grade for the first few weeks of the season. They're coming in to today. They're playing right now, but they're coming in today 11-7. I would probably give them an A minus. Feels roughly appropriate. Granted, the Diamondbacks are a fourth place baseball team currently, which maybe we'll get into later, just how wild the NL West is currently. But just in and of themselves, they have played pretty well to start the season. As I said, they're 11-7. That's a pretty good place to be 18 games in. Certainly it hasn't all been perfect. The starting rotation is something that we could get into as an area of improvement for this team. Certainly there were high expectations for this rotation coming into the season after the signing of Corbin Burns. Several guys in this rotation have not quite performed up to where you would maybe expect to this point in the season. But in really all other facets, the bullpen has been quite good up to this point in the year. The offense, I believe, is fourth in baseball in runs scored entering today. And this Diamondbacks defense tends to be pretty good year in and year out as well. So they're clicking on most cylinders right now. And I think if you got this rotation to where a lot of people think it could eventually be, you could be looking at genuinely one of the best teams in all of baseball.
So what are we missing? What is the non-Arizona following media missing, in the sense of, like, I see that Corbin Carroll's leading the team in homers, runs, stolen base, different categories. Are we missing something that, like, everybody in the nation should be watching right now?
Corbin Carroll has certainly gotten the vast majority of the attention from this team, and rightfully so. I think someone who probably deserves more attention is Geraldo Perdomo, a Diamondback shortstop who's been a pretty solid player in this league over the past few years. But the start that he is off to this season has been extremely impressive. Entering today, he was hitting .311 with a .907 OPS. And currently, the Diamondbacks are without Ketel Marte, who was certainly their best player a year ago, one of the best players on this team for quite some time. And he's been out since April 4th. So it's really the majority of the season that the Diamondbacks have been without their best player. And the guy stepping into the number 2 spot in the lineup has been Geraldo Perdomo. And historically, Perdomo has been a guy who could give you a quality at bat, but was not necessarily going to slug a ton, was not necessarily, most of his hits are going to be singles. He's going to hit singles and draw walks. But what we've seen so far this season has been really a different version of him. He already has matched his home run total from a season ago with 3 homers so far in this young season. And he just seems to be driving the ball with more authority. And because of him, the Diamondbacks really haven't missed a beat with Ketel Marte currently on the injured list.
Ketel Marte is the year in and year out possible MVP favorite. He was top 3 last year. Does Corbin Carroll slide into that role now? And not just because of what he's done this small season, sample size, but also after he made his swing change partway through the year last year, going back to get on top of the heaters. Do you think he's an MVP candidate?
It's hard, Eric, to watch what Corbin Carroll is doing on a day-to-day basis right now and think anything different. I mean, this is a guy who, for those people who like wins above replacement as a way of measuring player performance, Corbin was number 1 on both Fangraphs and Baseball Reference as of the start of play yesterday, talking about, according to that metric, the best player in the league, right? And certainly this is a guy that we've seen in this conversation in the past. Last year, not so much, right? He had such a brutal first half of the season that even with a pretty stellar second half, he just wasn't going to be in that conversation. But in his rookie season, when he was rookie of the year and had 25 home runs and 54 stolen bases, he did finish top 5 in MVP voting that season. And back then, I certainly would not have been surprised if Corbin became a legitimate candidate to win the award at some point in his career. And what we've seen so far with the swing stance change that you mentioned, he seems to be kind of downplaying the impact of that. But it's hard as an outside observer not to associate how well he's playing right now with what is a pretty drastic change to his swing stance that he made. He is crushing anything and everything, including pitches at the top of the zone, which has been kind of maybe the one hole in his game that you could have identified a couple years ago. That does not seem to be a hole any longer. So I think it's still early, certainly, to be having these conversations. But in my mind, Corbin is absolutely a viable MVP candidate.
All right, we're talking about all the things they're doing well. What's the Achilles heel of this team? Is it the bullpen? Because the bullpen wasn't great last year. They didn't do a lot to address it this offseason. Is that the one thing you look at? I know the starters haven't been doing great, but Corbin Burns is going to be fine. Gallen is going to be fine. Merrill Kelly's going to be fine. Fott's going to be fine. Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be fine. These are veteran guys. Is it their bullpen that's their one thing where you look at and say, this has to be right for them to compete with the Padres, the Giants, and the Dodgers?
You know, for the vast majority of this team's existence as a franchise, I think you could look at the bullpen as kind of always being their Achilles heel. And certainly last year, there were some issues. Once again, Paul Sewald was hurt for a while, and then when he returned from injury, was good for a time, and then just really hit a rough patch in July. And the Diamondbacks really didn't have a great situation at the back end of games the rest of the way. What we've seen so far, though, AJ, is what I think is a pretty good bullpen. We'll certainly see whether this is sustainable, but the Diamondbacks acquired AJ Puck at the trade deadline a year ago, and he was outstanding in the second half. He hasn't been quite as good so far this season, but the stuff looks still pretty darn good to me. I think he's going to be fine. And I think the real story with this bullpen is the emergence of Justin Martinez, a guy who some people are maybe starting to hear about more and more. I think MLB.com recently had an article about how his splitter is effectively a 90-mile-an-hour knuckleball. And beyond that, he's throwing, 101, 102 miles an hour on the regular with his four seam and his sinker. So Justin Martinez hasn't allowed a run yet this season. Shelby Miller, a guy the Diamondbacks picked up over the offseason, invited him to spring training. He has been outstanding as well. He has not allowed a run so far this year either. So between those guys and AJ Puck still being here is, I think, a pretty solid weapon at the back end. The bullpen's been all right so far, and I don't really have a reason to think it's going to change anytime soon.
More in a minute, but first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video. Kratz, Mother's Day is around the corner. Do not overlook it, and you need to go the extra mile for Ma. I'm talking to everyone out there. Gift idea. Go.
Easy. Storyworth. Scrapbook with stories. You get pictures, stories. You send it out to people. They put their stories in there. It's super easy. They guide you through the whole thing, and it's a keepsake for life.
Right. They'll email you questions. You respond with an epic story. Everyone needs this, right? And Storyworth makes it so much easier. And that's why it has more than 40,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago. Give all the moms in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll all cherish for years. Storyworth, right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/foul. That's storyworth.com/foul to save $10 on your first purchase. Mother's Day is coming soon. Do not overlook it. Get it done. And now back to the video.
We did a newsletter not long ago named 5 guys to look out for, and one of them was Martinez, because he throws 100 with a 90-mile-an-hour sinker, splitter thingy, whatever you want to call it. Can Puck, though? Here's my question. Shelby Miller got off to a great start. I love Shelby Miller. I caught him for a couple years. Great guy. Can he keep it up? Can AJ Puck keep it up? These are guys that have kind of had a little bit of up and down, especially in the bullpen. Bullpen's so volatile. It can change literally week to week. Can these guys keep this up for 162 games?
I guess that's the $1 million question, right? I think it's totally valid to wonder if they can, right? You're absolutely right. AJ Puck, since I think around May of last season, has been one of the best relievers in all of baseball. But before that, he was not that, right? He made some adjustments to his pitch arsenal early last year in Miami, and really started to throw the ball well. The Diamondbacks wanted to trade for him, and so far so good. But yeah, he's only been this version of himself for probably a little less than a calendar year. And certainly Shelby Miller as a guy who was, a non-roster invitee just about a month or so ago, right? You certainly need to see more from these guys, I think, to feel great about it. But certainly what we've seen so far, it's as good of a place as I've seen the Diamondbacks bullpen in at this stage of a season for maybe as long as I can remember. This has certainly been the Achilles heel for this team for many, many years past.
Can this fourth place team win the division?
They've got a lot of ground to make up already, right? It's outrageous what's currently happening in the NL West. You guys might have already talked about it. I believe entering today, the 4 best records in Major League Baseball are all NL West teams. It is the Padres, it is the Giants, the Dodgers, and the Diamondbacks. Granted, I think a few other teams are tied with the Diamondbacks entering today. But it's unreal what we've seen so far in the NL West to start the season. I think if you'd asked most people entering the year what the best division in baseball is, I think the NL West would at least have been a popular choice, probably the most popular choice. But I didn't expect this. I did not expect the Giants to be what they've been so far. And even the Padres, after the offseason that they had, you kind of knew that the top end talent was there, but they lost a whole lot of depth over the offseason. And somehow that really has not held them back at all so far. So I think it's too early to get too wrapped up into what the standings look like right now. But frankly, the odds are certainly stacked against the Diamondbacks in winning the NL West. The Dodgers, of course, being, I think, the primary deterrent there, but also the Padres and Giants looking pretty good early in the season as well.
It's never too early, by the way. It's never too early to look at the standings. Trust me, it's never too early because you got to win games. But the other thing is, the NL West hasn't really started playing each other yet.
Mm-hmm.
The Rockies are taking the brunt of it from everybody right now, but the other 4 teams haven't really started to play. The Padres and the Giants and the Dodgers and the Padres, they haven't really gotten into it yet where they're playing the 13 times yet. So it's a little bit early to say, oh, this team is better than this, because they're going to start beating up on each other at some point. And when they do, whoever comes out of that scrum is who's going to win the division.
Yeah, I want to remind Jesse about a quote that we got when we were at Diamondbacks camp from Kevin Ginkel. He said he feels like the Dodgers tighten up a little bit when they play the Diamondbacks. Did you catch that quote?
I did. Yes, I do remember him saying that. And I think there's some truth to that. I mean, I've covered pretty much every Diamondbacks Dodgers game in person here over the last few years, whether in Arizona or over in Los Angeles. And the Diamondbacks have played the Dodgers really tough over the past few seasons. Granted, part of that is that Christian Walker would just turn into a superhuman every single time he entered Dodger Stadium. He had one of the most unbelievable 3-game series that I've ever seen there last July. I think he hit 4 home runs over the course of those 3 games. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like without him on this team anymore. But yeah, I don't think that the Diamondbacks are intimidated by anyone in this league. And based on what we've seen from them so far, and certainly what this starting rotation, I think, still could be if Corbin Burnes and Zach Gallen and some of these guys that you expect to be really good kind of find their way. I think they certainly can compete when they're playing the Dodgers.
Jesse Friedman, host of Snakes Territory. So go check it out. Jack Summers on there with him.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.